Crossing to Australia to talk to one of Britain's biggest rising stars. He's already played Prince Caspian in the fantastic movie adaptations of the Narnia books. Now, he's joined Colin Firth to star in Dorian Gray. Ben Barnes is in Brisbane for us this morning. Hello there, Ben. How are you?
Hi, Lorraine. How are you? I'm very well, thanks.
Oh, it's really good to see you. And you've been promoted. Are you now King Caspian?
I am. For the last couple of months, I've been on the ship, and you know, pretending I'm in control and know what I'm doing.
Fantastic. And you've been doing a bit of sword fighting today because you're out there filming right now, as you said.
I have. We've been sword fighting today, and somebody's obviously told you that it didn't go quite according to plan. That's why I got a slightly swollen lip, because I got popped with the sword by young Skander Keynes by mistake today. So I promised I'd ratted him out on TV.
Well, that's the hazard, you see. That's the hazards of doing such an energetic role. But I know that you've loved doing the Narnia books. But Dorian Gray, a much different story, much darker. And you start off as this, you know, really, actually very naive young man who gets completely corrupted.
Yeah, I started off in pretty safe territory for me, the kind of naive, innocent, but like the Narnia books, you know, one of my favourite books growing up, and yeah, just a real honour and privilege to be cast in a role like that. But particularly with this story, you know, the role itself is so rich, and as you say, makes this fantastic journey from innocent through corruption, decadence, and eventually he becomes this, you know, very gruesome figure that he's imagined for himself in this in the painting itself. That's a representation of his soul. So it was yeah, it was a lot of fun to play.
I'll bet it was. I bet it was very. It was to explore that sort of really darker side of your nature. Is much more fun than to play the goodie, if you like. I mean, it's extraordinary.
Absolutely. It's much better to be the baddie.
I know. That's what Colin Firth was saying earlier on when I was talking to him earlier in the week, and he said, because he's a real cad in it. I mean, he's the character that corrupts Dorian, and of course there is this amazing painting. As I'm sure everyone knows the story, that the painting is the one that ages and shows all the signs of debauchery and all of that, and it is very chilling. It's quite a gothic film, isn't it? It's got that real atmosphere about it.
It is, and we would argue over who was the baddie in the film, actually. We would argue over who was playing the villain, because he would say to me, well, I've corrupted your character, and I would say, how many people did you murder in the film?
True. That's very true.
That's the argument we would have, but it does have that kind of steely, gothic feel to it. You know, and it should be shocking, because the novel was shocking when it came out. It kind of pushed the envelope, and it should have sort of elements of that to any sort of retelling of the story, I think.
Very much. So we've talked about it. Let's have a little look and a flavour of the movie.
Perhaps you should go and speak to her.
I didn't realise she...
Don't be timid. Go.
I wouldn't know where...
See, I envy you.
Me?
Everything is possible for you because you have the only two things worth having. Youth and beauty.
Come on, let's go.
Moment's lost.
That was probably our husband.
Yes, very sensible. People die of common sense, Dorian. One lost moment at a time. Life is a moment. There's no hereafter.
And it's so very relevant today because so many people are in search of eternal youth, aren't they? You know, people, I would imagine that there would be people, you know, we were talking about this earlier in the week, that there would be people who, if you said to them, you can have eternal youth and you can have a painting that'll get older, they would jump at the chance, even if it meant selling their souls.
Yeah, much easier than Botox anyway.
Absolutely.
But I mean, I just thought we've learned absolutely nothing. It's more relevant today than it was even in Victorian times. I mean, the writer Toby Finlay often talks about it being to Victorian literature what American Psycho was to the 80s. They had the Victorians kind of invented this carpe diem attitude about living for the now and ignoring tomorrow. But now we're all too concerned with staying young today, and as an actor, I think obviously very relevant, I think. You know, if you lose the capacity to be able to raise your eyebrow, yeah, you're lost, really.
It doesn't make any sense at all. It really doesn't. Well, you're the busiest person, because you know, obviously you've got Dorian Gray coming out. You're working on the new Prince Caspian, who's now King Caspian, of course. And the next movie that you're doing could not be more different. You're actually playing a dad with a young child.
I finished shooting the film Valediction in Boston just before I came out to Australia, and there was just something about the script that I couldn't stay away from. It was just something so very different that somebody would cast me as this young dad who is involved in a car crash, and his young daughter, who's played by these gorgeous little twins that we found in Boston, and young daughter ends up in a locked-in state, is essentially a coma in hospital, and my character is frantically rushing around trying to piece together what's happened and put his life back on track. But it's all sort of told out of sequence, and yeah, it was exciting to do, and it was nice for me to go and do something so totally different to these you know, the period films or the sort of fantasy.
Well, look, you be careful out there. No more wee accidents with the sword fighting, because we don't want anything bad to happen to you. It's been an absolute joy talking to you. Good luck with the rest of the shoot, and obviously with Dorian Gray that's out right now. Lovely to talk to you, Ben. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice to talk to you too.
Oh,
Bye.
Thank you very much indeed. What a lovely boy.